I'm joined now by my guest, who is the Secretary General of the Poultry Association of Nigeria, and the person of Musa Hakeem. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me, Chiamaka.
It is our delight to have you as always. But let's begin with getting, some sort of reaction to the comments that we have received across all the social media platforms. Some people are saying we might as well find alternatives. Some are saying that poultry farmers would run at a loss because, eggs will get spoiled in a short while. And some others are saying, indeed, poultry farmers are having a hard time and need some sort of support from government. But let us hear from you. What is your reaction to most of these comments that I did, point out this morning?
All right, thank you, Chiamaka. I think, first of all, let me respond to a commentator whose comment was on between a necessity and leisure. Eating or taking egg is never a leisure, it's a necessity. Why it is necessity is that it comprises a lot of nutrients that all your body needs to function very well, especially your brain, because as it were, there is what we call a high density lipoprotein, which if you have it high in your body, you have low risk of heart disease, stroke, and other health challenges. So this is one point that I want to stress, that people must, place their diet on egg. It's not just for, taking sake. Is very necessary for your body.
But do you understand the concern of that commenter, talking about calling eggs luxury at this point regarding the current price? I understand that a price for a crate of egg currently goes for about 5,500. I mean, some other people said they haven't even tasted egg this year. But do you, understand their concerns?
Yes, I do understand their concerns, because the cost of egg is on the rise. But be that as it may, this rise in price of egg doesn't just come by. And in fact, it's not even in the best interest of poultry farmers, because as the price increases, it also affects that is their interest in buying. That's what we call in economic, we call it purchasing power. So because as the purchasing power of the consumer reduces, it also affects our business. That's why, as it is today, many farms have closed down and many farmers have also run out of business as a result. So we are not even happy that this price of egg is increasing on intermittently. But unfortunately, this is the situation we find ourselves today in the country as a result of so many factors that are responsible for the increase.
Well said. Meanwhile, the Poultry Association of Nigeria is calling for a state of emergency on the poultry sector. These and more to come to you after the break. And my guest, who is the Secretary General of the Poultry Association of Nigeria, Musa Hakeem, is still with me. Do stay. And you are still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we started a conversation on the current state of Nigeria's poultry industry. And like I stated before, the Poultry Association of Nigeria has called for a state of emergency in the sector, and are saying that if they do not, if they are not given, this support, especially from government, we just might see the price of a crate of egg grow from 5,500 naira, which it currently goes for, to as high as 10,000 naira in the coming month. But I still have my guest here with me. He is the Secretary General of the Poultry Association of Nigeria, Abuja Chapter, and the person of Musa Hakeem. Thank you again for coming on the program today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, I will want for you to speak on the state of emergency that the association is calling on. You have asked for the government to declare, a state of emergency on egg production. Why is that the case? Can you explain what specific interventions you want to see from the government?
Okay, thank you very much. I think we're calling on the government to declare state of emergency on egg production. It comes as a result of a serious decline in egg production in the country, because over time, like about 3 months ago, we decried that about 30% of poultry farms has closed down across the country.
Yes.
And that time, nothing has been done from that time till now. And as I'm talking to you, more are still closing down. Because those of us who remain in the business today is those of us who actually have passion for what we do. And aside from being passionate about it, some of us also have is the poultry business is our first line of business. That's why we cannot afford to just jettison the poultry production or egg production for another business. But mind you, those who have other business lines apart from poultry production have actually abandoned the poultry industry. Then why we're calling on government to declare state of emergency is that if this trend continue, then there's going to be a total collapse of poultry industry, subsector of agriculture, which is especially egg production. And Nigerians cannot afford to depend on importation of eggs before we can take protein in this country. And as it is today, egg is still remain the cheapest source of protein. Anybody can do research on that, because you cannot even try meat and other source of protein. And taking eggs, it helps a lot, as I have said earlier. Then because of that, the production also have to align with loss of demand and supply, because as it were, many farms has closed down. So the little one available, what we are producing now is not in any way is not adequate to the demand that the consumer are requesting. So for that, it's actually push up the price. These are the also factors aside from other factors that are responsible for the increase.
Well said. But shortly we will be looking at the specific challenges that you as poultry farmers are facing. But you also have spoken regarding the neglect in that subsector for years. Why would you say, or what exactly points to, the neglect? What do you see that makes you believe that that subsector, talking about poultry industry, has been neglected by the government?
I think from the best of my knowledge, the synergy between the industry, let me say the key players in the industry, such as some other stakeholders, especially Poultry Association of Nigeria, that synergy between the association and the government has not been so cordially or adequate, if I may say, over in recent time. Because we want to appeal to the government that when they are formulating policy regarding the production of egg and other poultry products, association like ours should be carried along, because sometimes they may roll out programs or intervention that's not what we need at that particular point in time. So in that regard, I think in the past we do also have a subsidy on grains, which helps a lot of farmers to also cushion the effect of whatever is the problem or challenges. But over time, in recent time, we have not also got that incentives. So these are the reasons why we said there are maybe a deliberate attempt to neglect the poultry subsector.
Okay, but I will want for you to emphasize on the challenges. Already you've spoken regarding the neglect that you as an association are experiencing, with from the government. But beyond that, are there other challenges that you would like to emphasize on?
Yes, I think the other challenges is those challenges that also affect other consumables or commodities across the country, such as high cost of transportation, then bad roads, especially to our farm areas. So that's infrastructural decay. So we need all of this, because as I'm speaking, I'm not just speaking for the FCT chapter, I'm speaking in generality of the poultry farmers across the nation. So these are the factors that really affect the poultry industry. And because people are not really getting the attention of government in terms of intervention or incentives, many people are not actually interested in coming into the poultry subsector. And we need a lot of people to invest, that's investors, to come into the industry so that there will be boost in production. Because if there is boost in production, that will be adequate to rhyme or align with the demand, definitely the pressure will be reduced as well.
Beyond the rising cost or standard of living, generally speaking, one concern that you have also pointed out, or the association has pointed out, is the increase in the price of feed. And that, has a way of trickling down to also affecting the price of eggs. So I'd like for you to speak regarding that, even though there are concerns about, indiscriminate increase in feed prices by millers. But do you agree with that?
Yes, of course, because the feed, so to say, is almost 80% or even 90% running cost when it comes to poultry production. And I also had one of the commentators said that poultry farmers don't produce their feed. That's why we're also having these challenges. It's actually the truth, because what you need to produce, that's the raw material. If you don't have it, you cannot also, produce, because this feed, poultry, that's birds. It's not just like other, business, because birds, they need a consistent feeding and without interruption, because whatever you give to them, that's what they actually give to you in return as the output. So we cannot also afford to, like, you have maize, which is major component in feed, and soybean. You have it this month, maybe next month you cannot get it as a result of maybe scarcity or exchange rate, as the case may be. Then you cannot afford to feed your birds for like 1 day, 2 days, then automatically it's going to drop your output. So these are the issues that farmers don't want to encounter, that make them depend solely on feed millers. And of course, if the price of feed is increasing, definitely it will translate to the price of egg.
Well explained. But how is the association, that is the Poultry Association of Nigeria, now, addressing these issues with the millers? Are there any regulatory measures in place to, prevent these practices, talking about the indiscriminate increase in the price of feed?
Yeah, but I think if there is anything we can do is going to be on, mutual arrangements, because we don't have that prerogative to ensure that what they are giving, because one, we're not also talking about the quality, even the quantity has been compromised. If you buy a bag of feed now, which is supposed to be 25 kg, you discover that it's not even up to. So all these sharp practices in feed milling sector has to be checked, and who does that is government. We cannot actually do that, because they are also an individual business entity.
But let me ask, has there been any form of dialogue between your association and the millers?
In fact, there is not official dialogue, because what I can say is that they are even supposed to be a member of Poultry Association of Nigeria, because Poultry Association of Nigeria is not only comprise the producers, so it comprises even feed millers, even the marketer, and all the stakeholders in the subsector is what makes up the Poultry Association of Nigeria. But as the case may be, individual is in the business to make profit. You can't determine what they sell. And of course, they also understand that this feed will depend on it solely for the survival of even our business. You understand? So it's just like a case of holding us to ransom, that we don't have option. But there should be mutual synergy and understanding, so that all these can, be put to right, so that consumer can also breathe.
But I will like for you to speak regarding this, price or expected price increase. You said if the right, support is not given to the association, then a crate of egg might rise as high as 10,000 naira. I mean, looking at the social media comments alone, Nigerians took it as a shock, such an amount just for a crate of egg. And then for a family of say 5 and 6, or 5 to 6, how many crates of eggs would they consume in a week? How many crates of eggs would they consume in a month? But what was the metrics behind, that conclusion? I mean, increasing the price of egg to as high as 10,000 naira.
Yeah, I think the reason is not far-fetched, and again, not trying to be a prophet of doom. You understand? Because currently The 5,500 we even talked about is what we call farm gate price. That's what
you're
selling from the farm. And before an egg dealer will come and pick it, then that egg dealer will also have to spend money on transportation and other logistics. And before they will take it to their destination, where it will get to a retailer, maybe it will now be 6,000 naira before a retailer will now sell to final consumer. So these are the metrics. And if urgent intervention is not done, is obvious. You understand? Because now farms continue to close down. So if the small people that are now producing, or what you produce is too meager to what is demanded for, definitely the cost or the price will definitely push up, along the line. So these are the factors. And we are selling 5,500 from the farm, as I said, now, because for like 3 weeks the price of feed has been stable.
The past 2 to 3 weeks?
Yes, for the past 2 to 3 weeks. This is a statement of fact. The price of feed has been stable. But we're also expecting that it is stable because this is the surplus for maize, which is major component of poultry feed. By next month, which is November, we're expecting that the maize will be phasing out from the market little by little. You understand? And by so doing, then the price of maize will definitely, go up again. And when it goes up, then the feed millers will also have to top the price of feed. And what they normally do is that this increase will come on a weekly basis intermittently. So as we also buy, that's how we're also going to set the egg. So that's why we're now appealing to the government that something urgent should be done to avert this subsequent increase. If you really want to, measure on protein intake of the citizen of this country. Because I, as a farmer, we are very compassionate. We are not just like every other, marketers that can also shut down or use industrial action to push their concern or plight. So if you do that, then definitely there will be a total collapse in protein intakes. And a wealthy nation, they say, a healthy nation, they say, is a wealthy nation. So we are very concerned about the health of the citizen of this country.
But I would like for us to speak regarding, access to financing, which we understand is one of the major challenges as well. Has there been any effort towards, say, securing loans from financial institutions, maybe as an association or as individuals or members of the association? Because I believe that would also help, douse these tensions that are being experienced in that sector. But has there been any effort so far?
I think over time we have had some, intervention in that regard. But I personally, and few of people that I also used to talk to, I'm not sure that we have actually been able to access any financial, this thing from especially financial institutions, because why? The conditions that attach to all these funds, you can't expect a poultry producer, because as it were, if you stock your birds today, in the case of layers, that's egg production, you have to wait at least for the period of 6 months before you start getting, return, because it takes them about 19 to 20 weeks before they start laying eggs. So if you now go approach a bank for loan or credit facility, and they now give you a moratorium of maybe 2 months, 3 months, then how are you going to do that? And as it were today, many people are not interested in the industry, because if you just want to put up like 1,000 capacity of layers now, you need no less than between 20 to 30 million naira to set up the farm.
So the dynamics of the business are quite different.
Yes, the dynamics is very different, and the intricacies involved is also different from other businesses. You understand? And for you to feed that 1,000 birds to a point where they will start laying, just 1,000 beds, you need no less than 5 to 6 million naira. Then think of when you have maybe 5,000, 10,000 beds. Then if you are able to now access credit facility and they expect you to start, paying back in a little while, you are not going to be able to meet up. So I think what specifically I think government can do as it is currently is to give some kind of support in terms of grants so that farmers can be able to resuscitate their farms and stabilize whatever is the challenges they have.
Well, you have emphasized on the nutrition benefits of eating at least an egg a day. I remember growing up, it was a common thing. You eat at least one egg every day, but now it's no longer the case. But I will want for you to speak regarding the kind of collaboration that you are calling for as an association, between government and private sector now. What kind of collaboration are you calling for? And has there been, should I ask, some sort of meeting or some sort of dialogue with the government between your association and the government now? Has there been that in recent times? And moving forward, what do you expect from the government?
I think there should be dialogues before now, because that has rested on the national body of the association, so to say. But when it comes to the nutrient value of egg, it can never be overemphasized. You understand? So in that regard, what we want government to do is not just the producer, all the stakeholders in the subsector, that is poultry subsector, all hands must be on deck to find a kind of lasting solution to the challenges facing the industry. It's very important, except we are just paying a lip services to protein intake of the citizens. You understand? And the campaign now is even if you can take 2 eggs per day. But you said it used to be 1 egg per day.
Well, I remember it being 1 egg per day, and going through the social media comments, yeah. Nigerians would not want to hear you say that. 2 eggs per day at this point would go for about maybe 500 to 600 naira. Because I know that an egg goes for about 250 naira to 300 naira, depending on the location.
Yes.
Okay, but you just marked the World Egg Day.
Yes.
And emphasizing the importance of egg consumption. But your discussions with most Nigerians, what feedback did you get trying to pass that message for an increase in egg consumption by Nigerians? What sort of feedback did you as an association get from these people that you have had conversations with?
I think the feedback we say is it depends on understanding of individual. There are some individuals who actually understand the importance of taking the eggs, that even if 1 egg is sold for 1,000 naira, they will still go ahead and buy it. And what I normally tell people is that the cost of not eating egg is more costly than the cost of egg.
The cost of not eating is more costly than the cost of an egg.
Yes, than the cost of an egg. So if you understand that analogy, because if you decide not to eat egg because it's expensive, the resultant effect, when you now get sick, you spend more money to get fit again. So that's why we always, put on this campaign that people should try and take egg as much as possible, not minding the cost of egg. And we believe that if everything is being put in place, the price of egg will definitely come down. And we also want to use this medium to call on investors, let people come to the industry and invest massively. If there is surplus of this egg in circulation, definitely the price will come down as well.
Okay, but I would like to speak regarding, you mentioned the comprehensive database that you have, as an association, and how the government can, collaborate with the association. But let us hear from you. What's the strength size of the association at this moment?
Yeah, I think I will only speak for FCT.
Because you already did say that most businesses have closed down in the past 1 year.
Yes. So I think for FCT we have over 1,000 members, registered farmers in FCT here that owns farm and run farms. So why we're calling on government to collaborate with us is that over time, when they want to reach out to these farmers in terms of incentives or intervention, most time we will just read it in the pages of newspaper without really getting down to the farmers that needed the support. So that's why we're calling on this collaboration, that if we're being in this collaboration, what we call as concerted collaboration, then we'll have data we can even give to government, for free of charge, though we spend a lot of money to get this data, because we go to various farms to assess their farm, know their capacity, because when you talk about poultry production, it's not just layer or egg production. We also have those who are into broilers. That's just for meat production. So we know the capacity they have and the kind of support they need. So if you now have to collaborate together, it will help to reach out to farmer adequately.
The Poultry Association of Nigeria calling for urgent intervention in the sector, and is also saying that if that support is not given, we just might see a crate of egg increase from 5,500 naira that it currently goes for to as high as 10,000 naira. And again, the cost of not eating an egg is more than the cost of, or how did you put it again? The cost of not eating an egg is more than
costly
the cost of an egg.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Musa Hakeem, who is the Secretary General of the Poultry Association of Nigeria, Abuja Chapter. Thank you for discussing with us this morning, and we do hope and believe that this discussion indeed gets to the right ears of the people in charge, and we'll start to see some changes occur in the sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me. And if this campaign or this request is being attended to, is for the benefit of the masses, because it's not even in our best interest as a poultry farmers, because as I said earlier, since the purchasing power is reducing, it's also affecting the business, and that's why many people are not even so interested to come into the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And that's all we will be taking on today's edition of the program. But keep the conversation going across all our social media accounts, on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok, and of course on YouTube as well as Instagram. And let us hear from you. We will be there to reply to your comment. How much does a crate of egg go for at in your vicinity? And what are your thoughts on the discourse for today? My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.